with Queens. Woo! So I'm your host,
And I'm Aisha.
and we are back with season 2. We done did 10 whole episodes uploaded and everything ready to go. Go check those out on our YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere. Everywhere you can hear it.
We did.
You in the car, you cleaning thing up. Alexa even know us. I asked Alexa and she was like, yeah, girl, I'm putting y'all on right now. So get your Alexa, tell her to play Questions with Queens, and follow us on our social media. On Twitter, we are QWQ Podcast. Yes, season 2 is started. Ooh, 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 ooh. So we got a little bit of changes. You know, we're here and we started a new time. We're going to be on at 8 o'clock. So make sure you guys change your little games and your alarms or whatever you have, and make sure you tune in every Wednesday, 8 p.m. because this virtual learning stuff is kicking y'all butt. So we trying to put y'all to bed a little early. Right? Like, we gotta go to sleep.
Wake up and start all over again because you and the kids is in school.
Right. How y'all been learning and everything, and we got an episode on that, so we got y'all covered. You know, go hit that. Go check it out. Virtual learning for y'all. We got you. So hopefully y'all hanging in there. What is it, like the second week of learning?
No, we are on our third week. Third week. Is it?
Third week of learning.
Third week. I had to look at the calendar.
3 Wednesdays in. Y'all started. Go ahead, Mom. Woo. And families and dads and caretakers, everybody. Shout out to y'all. So we're just gonna jump right in. Season 2. We starting love. Love. You know, we always gotta talk about the love. So our topic tonight is drum roll. Damn, hey, sorry. Tonight is how to teach children about how to love. So just basically, how do we teach these little babies how to love? And it's not necessarily relationship stuff, but just loving. Like, how do we teach them that, Ish? What you think?
Ooh, so as you guys know, I am a mom of 4 girls.
How many?
I got 4 girls I'm bringing up. And to me, it's very important to break that generational curse of like the mom-daughter struggle relationship. So it's really important for me to teach the girls how to love, because receive love, you gotta know how to give it as well. So I think that like showing them, you got to start young, and I think that you can do that by like setting examples of love and showing examples of you know what love looks like if you're in a relationship, you want to express love to your partner, you want to express love to the children, and things like that, just so they can see examples of love every day. And I think that you can teach them like how to love if you love it, if you are a parent of multiple children, that you love your children equally, like you don't have no show favoritism towards the children and things like that. I think that's another way to like teach them love. And you have to teach your children patience too, because sometimes little kids are very impatient. They want their things right here, right now. And you could take those moments to teach patience, because that will tie into knowing how to love someone as well. So what you think?
I agree. Specifically love the examples of teaching children how to love. I think that's more so important than anything, because children learn from what you see. So you can be unintentionally teaching them love, how just by them seeing you, whatever, how you're doing, like how you said, how you interacting with your spouse or anything like that. So you can do that. So you can teach them how to love unintentionally, subtly, like they just see you every day. They see that you're interacting or you're not interacting with them specifically, additional to your spouse or to your partner, or whoever, however you treat them. If you're not hugging them, you're not, giving them anything, that just be your way of loving. But just whatever you're doing to them is starting to build their way of how to love, how to know, how to be in the world, how to love in the world. I think that's a good thing, like examples of how you are, as well as how you talk to them. Like, if you're not communicating with them, if you're not telling them about feelings, all children have feelings. All children can express them. I feel like sometimes families and parents put on to them like, oh, they're children, so just listen to what I say and that's it. No, they have to be able to express themselves and say like, oh no, this is wrong. Sometimes it's just too much. We have to be able to be like, wait a minute, hold on, I was wrong, and come back and apologize after discipline, stuff like that. Like talking to them about their situations, talking to them about how they feel about certain things. You did this. Did you like it when mommy did? Did you not like it when mommy did this? Like, or do you want mommy to do more of this? Like today, my son told me he goes to school. He actually goes to physical school. So he told his teacher, he's like, sometimes we walking down the street, and I was just like, huh? Like, why would you tell your teacher that? And stuff like that. And I don't like sometimes I could be just looking at the time, whatever. It's not necessarily like I'm talking to somebody or whatever.
Right.
But I could just be this is that. Like at 5 years old already. So I had to check it. Like, okay, I'm gonna work on that. And that could be something that he wants. His love language already is starting to develop. He might want quality time. Like, legit, mom, talk to me, listen to me, and I have to understand that. So I think that's a number one thing too. Like, just understanding that they have feelings, they have emotions as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents are so used to the way that they were brought up, like that they were once children too. Like you was once a child, and I know, like I always try to keep that in mind. Like, damn, how would I feel? Or when my mom would say those things and whatever, like I try to always remember, like these children are little people. Little people have feelings, and their feelings are valid. And you want to take the time to. Children don't know how to express their feelings correctly.
Yeah, so it's our job.
Yeah, so it's our job to teach them how to express their feelings. Now, sometimes parents can look at that as disrespect, but to me, I feel like that's the time that you take and you say, I didn't like that. That right there, the way that you expressed it, that wasn't nice. This is the way that we can express it by saying X, Y, and Z. You take those times to nurture,
make it a teachable moment. Yeah.
Teachable moment, yes. I think another way that you can teach your children about love is to incorporate it in their playtime. Because if you ever sit back and watch a child play, they're literally doing the things that they see around your house. The way they play with their Barbie dolls, the way that they play with their babies, the way they cook in their little kitchen sets. This is things that they see around the house. So in them good, positive examples of love, you'll see that incorporated in their play. And even if you watch your child and you don't see they're playing, maybe they making a Barbie dolls fight or whatever. That's okay. We don't play like that. Or let's teach our friend, like near they for it. Let's make up. Let's say sorry. Let's apologize. Let's take that time to learn. So it's plenty of like opportunities.
Or even how they interact with other children their age. Like constantly like, oh, let's play house and stuff like that. That's, not always wrong if you teach it correctly, if you acknowledge what they're doing and stuff like that. They don't all. Sometimes we also put on our negative thoughts to children, and they don't have no. Like if I say they play a house and you're in your mind, mom and dad's already going into like, oh no, y'all not doing that, because it's like, you don't want them to think about sex, but they probably wasn't even doing it. They literally in there like doing what you do.
They're just imitating with household.
Right, and it's not only one aspect of playing house or whatever. It could be anything. Right. Even if I disagree with the whole like boys can't play with certain stuff as well. Also, like how else you want to learn how to be a father, a husband, or whatever if they aren't playing with it and they're not starting young and you're not talking to them about these things. It's ways to talk to them and make it age appropriate for them. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely, like you said, sometimes as adults, we put on our thoughts on our children, and they're not even thinking like that. You have to
Mhm.
always think back to like when you played house, you weren't thinking of like for literally
Right.
just
Like I was
imitate.
outside playing house. I was out there cutting off the greens, making dinner, making food and
Right.
stuff like that. And I
Yes,
had a
we
good
have
old time. I
put
wasn't
ourselves
thinking about
back into
anything.
how, like we have to put our mindset back into a kid when it comes to our children. Like you have to
Hmm.
step out of adult mode sometimes and think like a kid. Because that's the
And sometimes be their friend. Sometimes it's appropriate to be their friend. Sometimes not saying that you shouldn't speak about age appropriate stuff. Like you said, it's a time to teach. It's a time to just talk to them about it. Like just understand them. Like if they going to school all day, you can give them a moment of just like, I'm not your mom right now doing it. Just get a breather of just being their friend and talk to them. And you can learn
right.
so much. Like simply
Mhm.
just walking and talking or just talking to them for 5 minutes. Yes, and they learn through play and everything like that. So I agree.
Yep. You wanna like I try to tell parents to don't wait until your child is 12. We're not saying that 12 is impossible to teach these things, but it is a little bit harder
They've been
because you will
exposed
have
to stuff. They've
kids
already
like
experienced some things from other
right.
peers. So they're really
Yeah.
not trying to
It's gonna
listen
be
to you now.
harder
You
to
lost
break
them.
those. Yeah, it's gonna be harder to break those habits. It's not impossible, but it is gonna be harder. And I just when you starting off with your child young, you're able to mold them into the person that you want them to be, or the person that the future that you see for them. Now, we're not saying that kids is always going to get around their friends. You just have to believe in your parents, and like they're going to fall into peer pressure and stuff like that. But if you teaching your child young about loving their self and respecting their self and their friends and the people around them things are going to kick back in. Their morals are going to start to kick back in then around that
Yeah,
time.
that's what I was gonna say too. Like the number one thing, you have to love yourself and care about yourself and who you are in order to be able to
Yeah.
teach them about love or the aspects of love or the actions of love and trying to do those things. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want to, like you said, don't want to put on all your negativity or all the stuff that you've been through and children. Of course, if you are a parent and you are parenting, you want the best for them. You want them to be 10 times, 100 times better than what you are and what you went through.
Yeah.
So it's important not to put those things onto them and understand this too. And they are little people, so definitely do that. And
Yeah.
back to what you were saying, like, if they are around other friends and stuff like that, it's going to happen. You could teach children 100 things and they do it all around you, but when they get around their peers, they're going to do other stuff. So I think it goes back to just having a conversation and be willing to be a friend as well as a parent in some situations and talk to them and have that communication open, comfortable in order to talk to you about stuff so that you understand what they doing
Right.
with their friends. Like, they start, like if it's a boy, you know 12, 13, they start the sexual stuff perhaps, and it's happening earlier and earlier. I'm gonna use that example because I have a son, but yeah, like if they're talking about that at school and you talk to them about, oh, don't have sex, don't do this and that, use condoms, all that, and they get around their boys and boys telling them, oh, that's whack, don't do that, that's corny or whatever. And then next thing you know, little
Yeah.
boy is doing something and you like, I done told you. But if they come home and say like, oh yeah, well Johnny said that's whack, mom, so why
Right.
can't I do this? And then you have that conversation that talk to them
Yep.
about.
You gotta open up the door, and I say like we said, it starts young. The things that you do with your children when they're young opens up doors for you and them later on in life, will coming back to you to talk to you about these things. And as a parent, we always going to react as a parent. Like you're going to react as a parent. You might not react the right way on that first go round, but and correct and teach. So
Yes.
correct the situation and teach. That's not right. I know your friends are all jumping off the bridge, but you're not going to jump off the bridge because Not because I said so, but because
right, because of the facts.
the facts, right? So I think that like when you do those things, like you teaching them trust. Like I can trust in my parents' word because they don't always overreact, or if they do
Right.
overreact, always come back and sit and we can talk. You're teaching them this because you don't want them to lie to you. You don't want them to be like, oh
communication
no.
is the biggest thing.
Yeah. So
like when they get in a relationship, or even they're in whatever the world, they would still be like, they have to be able to talk, they have to be able to express themselves. They have a boss, they have a supervisor that's taking advantage of them or something like that. You want them to be able to express themselves and feel comfortable enough to be like, oh, I don't like this, that didn't make me feel comfortable, stuff like that. And they already had that foundation laid from parenting, from when they were young.
Yeah.
I remember, like, going back to the love thing, like I remember my mom wasn't the best at having whatever relationships and stuff like that, but I always remember our conversations that we had, and I always remember I could talk to her about anything, like when I was young. And you get your menstrual cycle and all those things happening. So the normal girl would freak out. I was 11. Like the normal person would be freaking out and stuff like that. So, but since my mom had already given me books, literature, I knew the facts. I knew it wasn't just my mom saying, oh, so I had facts, I had books and stuff like that I can go to and read. So I knew exactly what to do. I just called her like, Mom, it happened. She like, okay, go in my room, get this and that. I knew what to do. Like, because we had that conversation of, I didn't feel weird to come to her and talk to her about anything or stuff like that.
Yeah, and I say like my biggest thing as a parent, like my favorite saying and the thing that I like literally, I literally do not want my children to have a childhood that they have to heal from. Like I don't want them to feel like they're 22, 23 and these baggages or this hurt or this pain, and now they don't,
or have secrets that they never told you, and it's eating them alive, and now they're adults and now they're somebody's wife or husband, and bringing all that into, and when it could have just been a simple conversation, just talk.
And people don't realize, like I know for me, like the stuff that I went through with my mom made me look at all women different. Like it made me not like trust women, period. And you don't want to barriers for your child. So it's very important to like, I'm not saying let your kids run wild, but you have to.
No, not at all. We don't play that.
We don't play that at all. But you have to. Yes, this
with love,
is not discriminate, but
like,
you have to do it with love. Like when my daughter gets in trouble, as hard, and it's crazy because I never understood as a child why my parent, this is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. But as a parent, I understand that now because it's really hard to have to discipline your child, to have to see your child cry after getting popped or after getting a beating, because that's not
that shit break me. And I turn right away and I'll be like,
yeah,
stay strong, stay strong, stay strong. Like, like my son didn't get
but you know it's been
like
when you go back and correct the situation. You had to get a beating because I asked you several times, see, you didn't do this. What can we do to make the situation better next time? But this is a conversation
that's the subliminally, like you're teaching love right there. You're teaching
there. That's
something. There's a problem. I'm annoyed by the problem. You have a conflict. You react to the situation, but you come back and you problem solve. That's the stuff that you do in relationships. Partnerships, whatever. Business. You talking. You have a problem. All right, I'm mad. I'm upset, but this is how we're going to fix it. I'm going to come back to you because I have a partnership with you. I have a relationship with you. I apologize.
A lot of parents don't believe in apologizing to their children. And that is the way that they're looking at it. Like you're thinking like, oh, I'm not apologizing to no child. You're a child. I said,
like it's a subordinate and authority. It's not. It's not always about that.
Not apologizing for like, I'm not apologizing because that's something that you earned. You earned that beating.
And that's exactly what I say. I'm like, you had to get it, but
yeah. However, I'm apologizing for the way it made you feel.
Right.
I am apologizing for what you felt like. Whatever you're telling me you're hurt about, I'm apologizing for that. But I want you to also understand that your actions have consequences, and I would be wrong as a parent not, when you get out into the real world, they're not going to give you a pop. They're not going to give you a timeout. They're not going to do those things. They're going to destroy you, and I don't want that. So I'm teaching
your boss
you
is going to fire you
to behave so that you can know how to act in the world as well. So those are conversations that you want to have with a child, because that's teaching them love. That's teaching them how to be an effective parent when they get older. That's teaching them how to be in a relationship, deal with consequences and all of those things.
And emotions and feelings. You're not invalidating their feelings and their emotions. You're hearing them out. You're saying it's the same thing, receiving and giving. Like, you hearing them out. You saying, okay, you felt that way. I felt this way. Move on and feel this way, so that we don't have to feel that way again. Like, you just have to be able to do that. And I feel like that's so important. It's not about, you have to think of it like you said, like they're in the real world. The cops are, not everything that's going on now, but like, hypothetically, they're not going to come to you and be like, hey, sorry for this, or, you did this wrong or whatever, because I just felt like doing it. They don't give you any explanation and stuff like that. It's the same thing. So you don't want to feel like you just an authority to your kids and that's it, and you just have to do it because I said so. Why? Right. How did you feel when your boss said do it just because I said so? Anything to you, or you working at a job and you just have to do stuff, and you looking at it, knowing your heart is wrong, or knowing your head is wrong, but you just have to do it just because they said so. Right. No, you need some type of guidance, some type of what's the title, what's the job description and stuff like that. You get a job description. You don't just get a job title. You get a description of what you have to do. So it's the same thing as a parent. Like, you have to just think of it like that. Like, dang, did I just do it, or do I care really about how they feeling, or how the situation was? Yes, you are mad about the situation, like you said, but it's teachable moments. You have to take those teachable moments. And then you want to teach them like about love unconditionally. So you want to teach them like, you don't have to do anything to get my attention, to get my love, to get my anything. You don't have to do those things. You don't have to act out or buy me gifts or buy, like, my love is for you. That's not how it works. So, I mean, you gotta take like to me, I think all moments is teachable moments. Like, you take that moment, like, you don't have to do those things, but then you want to teach them how to love. Oh, your sister's getting on your nerves and you don't want to play and you don't want to do this and you don't want to do that, but is that the way to treat them? Is that the way to, talk to them about that? Like, you still love and let them no matter what they're doing. Like, sometimes you don't want to be around your siblings. Sometimes you don't want to play with this person. Sometimes you don't want to call your boyfriend back. Sometimes you don't want to call your girlfriend back. Sometimes you don't want to send that text message. You can say those things and you can express that a better way than you, or whatever, I'm done and that's it. Like, no, you care about this thing. You love this person. Teach them how to say that, like how to say, I need a break right now, or I need a couple minutes to myself, or it's not the time. Simply. Yeah. Teach them. They can learn. They can absorb it. Yeah. And then that some moments be having double teachable moments, because in that moment you're also teaching them how to empathize. How do you think your sisters feel when you screaming at them, when you're yelling at them, when you're being mean and saying that makes them feel? How do you feel if someone does that to you? So you're also teaching them how to empathize with other people, and how to pick up how to see it in other people. Not only look, how would it make you feel, but look, you see she's crying. Show them how to empathize and how to see the signs of other people hurt, or how other people are feeling. Take the moments and teach, because that's going to go a long way in their life. Yeah. Right? And they're going to remember those conversations and those moments too. Like, yeah, I remember mommy told me this, or, something traumatic happens or whatever. I know that they get better and stuff like that. They'll do better.
And I just feel like, that she's 6 years old. So she is very impressionable right now. And the other day she came to me and she was like, I wish I was Zakayla. That's my niece. I'm like, why? Why you want to be Zakayla? And I had to take that moment right there and teach. You want to be yourself. She wanted to be my niece because my niece is older. So I'm like age at one point, but right now, love who you are right now, your 6-year-old self. Love who you are and the things that you're able to do right now. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do.
And at those things.
And and that's exactly what I said to her. And be awesome at them things. Be a rock star at those things at 6 years old. And you got to take those moments. Like, she didn't mean no harm. She didn't mean, but and teach, because that was a teachable moment of self-love.
And that was the start of something like, oh, I see something. I want to be that person. I didn't recognize me at first. So you had to take the moment and notice that as a parent.
To fester, because when those things fester that young for that long, you don't even know yourself no more. Now you're 13, 14, 15, 16, and you don't want all of this time wanting to be somebody else. And you don't even know who you are. What do you like? Because you're so focused on trying to be something that you saw. So you got to correct them moments. Just like that.
And it takes a while for us, our generation, like that stuff just started coming to me, I never thought, I'm ugly or whatever or stuff like that. But you have your normal stuff going on in school, looking funny. You have those, 6th grade, 5th
Girl, you to the side.
You don't got the teeth fall out and everything. Your face, you be looking crazy, okay? But you have those moments, but you don't know that you don't know that you like, oh, I look this way. You're not thinking about it. You're just going through. And then you got other people, your peers, that's telling you oh, you look like this, you look like that, or whatever. And it starts to break you down, but you haven't even had I'm better than that. I don't even care what
you're right. You never had no foundation to stand on.
So if you as a parent are already instilling that, that's just gonna bounce off of them nah, I'm good. I look good.
Because girl, it took me I was doing this bun. I did this bun 17 times because I was so conscious of how I was going to look on camera. And to be honest, I said, you know what? This is the last time.
This is it. And you
you gonna get whatever bun come on this camera.
Right, because that's not what it's about. You start to realize the other things that you are good at. You just this is the podcast. This is about what we're talking about. The content. All this other stuff is extra. So it's just understanding that. So if you as a parent, you can start to plant those seeds. I think that
because if you telling your child or not telling your child. If you're not telling your child or not encouraging your child, that's one thing. But if you are in the home and you tell them, get your ugly ass over here, get your this. If you talk to your child,
words are powerful. Yes,
very powerful. And then they're going out into the world, and their friends are telling you, "Aha, you bald head."
Into a world that already don't like them.
They're going to believe that they're bald head. They're going to believe that they're ugly. They're going to believe that they're worthless. So it is your job to literally be their armor. Girl, you are beautiful. Your curls is popping. Your lip.
Right.
And so many people got short hair, girl. You could twist that up. It's your job to literally be their armor. Put that armor of self-love and self-belief on your child, because the world is rough.
Yeah, and it's also on the flip side of it to input superficial stuff onto them. I remember I've always spoke over my son in whatever, you're awesome, you can do this and that since the womb. So, but my mom had to tell me one day you don't want to say they're awesome in this area and they discover that they're not. Right. Once they get out into the real world, and you have been just saying all this stuff back to knowing their strengths and weaknesses. If you know that it's not, it's not quite there yet, you don't want to just keep on like putting unnecessary or untrue things onto that thing, and then making them about it, and then they go into a situation where they have to use that thing, and you've been the mom and the dad telling them all the time that it's awesome and it's not. That could be hurtful as well. So just be careful with which thing you're doing. But for emotional stuff, definitely poor words of encouragement, words of positivity over your children, because it does matter. It remember, hearing "I love you" goes a long way. Like, that's one of the things I definitely make sure I say every day, all day. Sometimes too much, sometimes drawn, but you never know, especially today, like this pandemic, everything that's going on, you lose people left and right. Just, you want to make sure that they feel loved always.
And you want to you as a parent not make the excuse like, oh, my mom never hugged me, or my mom never said she loved me, or my mom never showed me love, my mom never did this, or my dad never did this, my dad wasn't. You can't make those excuses. You can't, because
the point is to be better than that.
The point is to feel, how did you feel when your dad didn't do that? So you gonna make your child feel like that as well because you never was hugged, or y'all didn't display affection? Affection is very important. I think people really downplay showing affection. A hug, a kiss on the cheek, a high five, or anything.
A high five, a smile, anything, like a smile.
So a lonely child, it really does. Like, you don't want
to
your
people,
child,
period. That's just humanity too. Like, you saying hello to somebody, you smiling or whatever, you walking down the street, you acknowledging people's they have feelings. People have feelings, so you just have to remember that and be conscious of what you're doing, what you're putting out into the world, and do the same thing with your children. Like,
I think going back to what you said about not over exaggerating like your child. I think that like you said, that is very important, and it does go back to knowing their strengths and their weaknesses. It's very important to pay attention to. You want to always encourage your child to at least try. You know what I mean? Like,
challenge them. Healthy.
Yeah, healthy. Like, not do it. You can do it. Come. No, but you definitely want to. Oh, well, you the thing is too tall. Well, let's try. And
or let's do one step. Let's do one step instead of 5 steps.
Yeah, like, be a support. Like, let them know that it's okay that they're afraid because it's too tall. Well, let's work together. I'll be right here to catch you. That builds their confidence, because now when they
that whole sentence right there, that phrase is just amazing. Like, you just let them know you supporting them, you there for them, you're not going to leave them, and that they can do it. You know,
you at least try and look what you did, because like that's just like for example with my niece.
And then praise after that.
And praise
if they did try,
because now they're gonna do it again. Because that's just like with my niece. She was struggling, and she literally broke out into tears. And I'm just like, first, number one, let's validate those feelings. Let's talk about it. What's wrong? Why are you crying? What you crying for? Let's see. Like, let's identify the problem. What are you upset about? That is now validate the feeling. You are entitled to feel that way. Math is very hard, and it can be very frustrating. But
my emotional stuff be crying too. I be like,
girl, I told her, I said, I was trying to figure out how, but I kept going. So what are we're going to keep going. We're going to,
and that's a moment too. You can tell them, like, we're not perfect.
You're not perfect. That's exactly what I told her. I said, listen,
biology made us parents. That doesn't mean we know everything. It's not written down anywhere. You learn as you go. So it's okay to let them know you not there yet. Like, I'm learning too. Listen, I don't know this math either, but we're gonna learn it together.
Remember, the child is trying to make you proud, so they're thinking like, damn, I don't know it.
That's a big one.
Feel you're not going to be proud of me. No, girl, we make mistakes too, and that right there tears down that wall of trying to make afraid that you're not going to be proud of them. Let's tear that down, because that's not the case. We all make mistakes, but we're going to work through it. So now let's work through it. Let's take our time. Let's go back. What are you having problems with? Let's work through it. And we got it. Her face lit up like a light bulb, and she was so happy. And I took the time to praise her through that, because it's something might be small to somebody else because they can do it like this, but to her, it's a very big moment. Through that, you praise her through that, because now she's going to feel encouraged and feel confident to do the next problem or to tackle the next whatever.
And she learned how to be a kind of a leader, so that if you're a younger child, then she sees that, she like, oh yeah, I remember when my aunt told me this. Let me go ahead and do this to her. So that already teaches them how to be in the world and how to be a person and give people empathy and love and stuff like that.
And it teaches them selfless. That is very important to teach a child. That's how you teach a child love as well. Teaching them selflessness, because you want them to be able to, like, oh, I ain't helping you because I don't feel
like I already knew.
Yeah, but now you gonna remember that time, like, oh, my aunt took the time to stop whatever she was doing and she helped me. I'm gonna do that for the next person. Or I see a homeless person outside. Like, I teach my daughter all the time. I give her money. She earns her allowance. Teach her to give back. She has a pantry outside that she puts food in. She puts like different toiletries and things like that, because I want her to be selfless. I want her to understand giving back and to know that people are. If she sees somebody out on the street, now she instantly reaches in her fanny pack and gives. I don't even have to coach her to do that. But you want to teach them that very, very young. Oh, you only got a quarter? The man, you have food tonight, but he's outside and he's hungry. And he like to give him something. Would you like to help him? You don't force them, like, you give them the option. But
that's another thing. I had that.
Yeah, you don't force, but you give them option. Yeah, you want to teach them that though, and even if you let them know that that's okay, because sometimes you really just don't have it. Like, this might be your last quarter, and you probably have plans for that quarter, and it's very understandable. You don't want to give them the money,
they
but
might just not understand that at the moment. And it's like, okay, we're gonna come back to this.
And
my son did the same thing, and I didn't know, like I said, some stuff is like subtle. You don't even know that you are teaching stuff. Like I give to home, like if I see, I don't give money. It's like really a situation that they eating out the trash or laying in the snow, in the rain. I'm like, all right, they can't be camping. Like, it's like, all right. So those people I do give to. Like when I used to catch the train and stuff coming home from work stuff, I would even go in his lunchbox and give the leftovers. Sometimes he'd be looking at me like, Mom. I'm like, look, you didn't eat this. This person don't have any food, and like just telling him that, and I'll give it to him. And I remember one day just doing it out of the blue. I ain't say nothing to him. He like, Mom, see, that's why I love you, because you give it to people that don't have anything, and that's so nice. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, thank you. But like he just noticed that, and like just for him to see, or I didn't do it for anybody to notice that I'm doing that, or I needed praise or anything like that. That's just the things that you can show subconsciously. So just be mindful of what you're doing and how you are observing. Children are observing you.
Those examples.
Right. So how do you feel about like dating your children? I know it sounds like so weird and scary.
Yeah,
seriously.
I think that people literally used to, like I said, not showing affection or like putting their adult views on children, that they just think that that's weird. Like, I honestly think that, like I said, I have 4 girls. So I think that it's very important for my husband, show them how they're supposed to be treated. Even if we all go out as a family, it's very important for my husband to show our children, oh, let me get the door, let me help with this, let me do, like, it's very important because they are females. I don't want them to think that being with some riffraff
is riffraff, grandma.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I just don't want my kids to think that that's okay, but I want them to usually, like, people say that you usually like your father. So it was very important for me to make sure that I picked a perfect father for my children. Now, he might not be perfect, but he's perfect in my eyes. The perfect
for that role.
For them. Yes, it was very important for me to be consciously aware of the type of man that I was going to have a child with, because I need my children to have perfect role models of what a man is supposed to be when they do become of age. And for my husband to take my children on dates, show them how they're supposed to be treated, pull their chair out, open the door for them, get the
What about like Valentine's Day and stuff like that? Or are you guys into like giving your children a gift, a small keepsake, something?
them gifts. He gives them he usually always get them like a teddy bear and chocolate, like just something small, might not be big. If the teddy bear could be as big as this LOL doll, but it's just something to show like it's Valentine's Day, this is how you're supposed to be treated, this is that. And it's very important. Like,
do you only let him take that over, or are you into that too?
No, we both do it, but I think that so let my husband do the talking during that time. Like if it makes sense, like the lessons behind it, because I want them to, like you said, have the facts. Like this is not just what mommy is saying. This is not how mommy is saying. But daddy actually,
and it's two different mindsets,
and it's two different
mindsets to hear from them, and that's
they see that like, oh, daddy's a guy, and this is how daddy treats mommy. This is how daddy treats us. So this is how men are supposed. So yeah, I do buy them gifts as well. Or sometimes he might forget, and I will pick it up. Hey babe, Valentine's Day here. This is for the girls. You know what I mean? Because it is, like you said, two different mindsets. So sometimes overloaded or overworked with maybe paying the bills or figuring out what's going on for this month, he might forget. So I think like as a parent, it's both for our jobs to teach that lesson.
Yeah, it's like where else are they going to? Yes, it happens, but that foundation is so important. Like, just to give a little intro to it.
You don't want them to get so wrapped up in a fairy tale. Like they watch Disney Channel movies.
Thinking a frog gonna come and kiss them, and they gonna be straight.
Yeah, you don't want them to be so wrapped up on TikTok and how TikTok boys are, or how, like, you know what I mean? You want them to have real life experience. The only way you really can learn something is from experiencing it.
Right.
So,
and children learn from
think that, like,
showing. Like, I'm single mother and I have a son, so that's big for me. I'm like, his going to be, they're going to have to step up because he's spoiled. Okay, listen, Valentine's Day, I do something. I give him something, even if it's a handmade, whatever. I remember I was at work and.
But you also teaching him that he things as well.
Yeah, like, and that he's important too.
My mom did it for me, so I have to do this for you, or I have to do this for my kids, or you know what I mean?
Right, and that he's important too, and it doesn't always have to be the man to do. Like you feel this way, this is my thing to do, and I'm going to do it for you. This is how I'm showing you I love you and that you're important to me this day or whatever. You don't have to celebrate holidays. We're not saying that you have to do these things that you have important to definitely show some type of feeling and emotion towards your children that emulates love, that shows them, that you are appreciated and stuff like that. But yeah, like we go out, manicures, he gets a boy a cure and get his little toes cleaned and stuff like that. I don't call them done or painted, none of that. Get them cleaned and he feel like a little king. Because I be like, I don't even get this treatment. They be bringing pillows, sit his back up all nice and neat, give him the Wi-Fi code. I done asked for the Wi-Fi code 12 times. He asked for the Wi-Fi code. They already let his tablet got juice and snacks and candy. I'm like, what? Who you think you are? But, he feels special in those moments, and that makes me happy that he's happy. So I like that, dating your children. I think it's a little thing to do.
Yeah, those moments, because like I said, they put adult views on a date, and sometimes it's just not that.
Yeah.
Like it's
just bonding, but it's just called something else, and it's specific to just having a moment with themselves to show how you feel about them and how they're feeling, and just have, like I said, be a friend in a moment. Sometimes just talk to them. Hey, how you doing? How's today? We're going out to eat today because I want to spend some time with you.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes multiple kids, you know, they like to have. Yeah, how do you guys deal with that? Like, how do you have like specific days or specific times that you might take one out?
So the thing is, being a parent of, it is very difficult to like schedule time for just one child in this stage right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say in this stage right now because I have two. I have two infants. Well, they're toddlers now, so I have two toddlers. They're one, so they are very, very busy. So sometimes we be drained by the end of the day. We be drained when we wake up. Sometimes, and it's two of them, so it'd be hard now to like schedule that one-on-one time because it's just a lot going on. But my daughter do like express like, hey, I feel like y'all not showing me no attention. Yeah, when she expresses that, then it'd be like a reminder, like, oh shit, we didn't go out with her. We didn't
or even the
spend
book.
enough time.
It don't even have to be like a whole big elaborate thing. It could just be like.
And I was about to say, and it sometimes it don't. We had to learn as parents because we were so used to it just being her because our older child stays with her mom most of the time. So we were so used to it just being Haley. We was able to give Haley all of our attention, give Kira all of our attention when she needed it as well. It was just so easier because they were bigger and it was easy to be like, all right, you gonna take Kira this week, I'm gonna take Haley out this week, and then we gonna switch kids. You take Haley, I take Kira. But now with the twins, it just be like, so now we had to figure out how to, we were so used to going out and doing things outside of the house. Yeah. So we had to figure out, all right, what can we do inside of the house with the kids to have one-on-one time or just to have family time, because sometimes she just be wanting. So it will have to be one-on-one time most of the time with her.
And even think of it as an adult. Like you want attention. You know when you want attention sometimes. You know when you want bae to be like all up on you and everything.
She's easy to please.
And
she's easy to please. So it took a bedtime story. It took tucking her in at night. It took game night, movie nights. Those things we started incorporating into our daily lives. So that now it's easy because we incorporated it. Sundays is family days. We either going to have a movie night or we're going to have a game night. And so we started incorporating it into our everyday lives versus having to plan it like, all right, we're going to take the kids out, and we're going to do this, that was the hard part.
Yeah,
so once
you stressing yourself trying to figure out what can we do? What trip can we go on? All that. It don't even be that. Like they don't even. That be us putting that onto them. They don't even be wanting that. They just be like.
Yep, that's what I say. That be us.
Real quick or like read me a story.
And that's exactly what it be. We was just so used to always going out that we thought that was the only way, and we had to figure out as parents like
you starting to build their love language. They starting to.
Yeah, and we had to listen. Like we had to listen to what she wanted, not what we thought she wanted. Yeah. Like we thinking like, oh, she's so used to going out that she gonna be mad having to do a game night, and she literally was just so happy. So you gotta listen to your kids. They know what they want.
Yep.
They know exactly what they want.
Even for me, like I remember he started kindergarten, so I've been like really big on just reading and stuff like that, making sure we read books. So who was it? I think Monday night or whatever. I don't think I read a book Sunday night because we was like running late and I was just scrambling, just trying to get him to bed or whatever. And he like, Mom, not read a book. Like I am mad. He's like, I am mad at you. I said, oh, we're gonna read till tomorrow, son.
We're gonna read till we make a double.
And that's what I did. I had to follow up, and I'm like being like already, like he catching it, like we're not slacking. You messing up the routine, and that's my time, and I like it. Okay. So I like that they are able to express that. Like I said, it goes back to them having comfortability with the parents, being able to express themselves and let you know what they need because they're
and I think like two more things that I'm thinking about, like as a parent that I like am really big on too. I don't like when people break promises to my children. Like I break promises because I don't like I know what that created for me. So I'm very big on like I don't like
just don't say it. Just like don't even say it. Don't
Yeah, sometimes, but you have to
Right.
know how to approach that situation.
Approach it.
Go back, talk, explain. Don't just let's just say that we was going to Chuck E. Cheese
And
or
just because they're a
something,
child,
and we
you
didn't
just like,
go.
oh, they all right. They gonna be all right.
And
No.
they ain't gonna worry about. Listen, XYZ came up. We're gonna try to reschedule. I'm sorry, but this happened and it was unavoidable. But we want to try to go again sometime next week. Let them know. Let them know what's going on, because in their mind, in the ball pit, they ready to go be with their friends or whatever. Like, they're hype about that, and they get their little feelings crushed. I don't believe in that. We ain't crushing no feelings. I'm
Nope.
sorry. And I, you know what?
It
Other
hurts,
people,
and it starts
I get
to
mad at
trust. It
that
starts to be
trust. It
like,
literally does.
don't let Auntie such and such call me no more, because she always saying she want to come get me and not do it. Like, that's a big thing for me too.
And my big one, I thought you said we was dot. That's why I don't let
Girl,
if
yes,
you
you.
break a promise to
They
my child.
remember.
They remember, and if you, I'm big on that. Like, if you break a promise to my child more than twice, you third time you out.
Deal
I
with him
mean,
and
that
their
you come
attitude.
in. I start to filter out those plans. If you come through, if you show up on the doorstep, oh yeah, I forgot you supposed to be going to grandma today. That's just an example. Grandma don't never break no promises. Don't get me wrong. Grandma don't break
That's
no
right.
promises. But I'm just saying, that's an example. Like, if she was to break promises, I wouldn't promise coming to get you this week until she showed up, because I don't want to break her heart.
Yep. That's what I had to start doing, and that's why I had to start telling DAD. I'm like, look, don't even say nothing. Don't say nothing about anything, especially if you talk to me on the phone, start telling him you doing this, and that, because as he getting older, he know everything. Well, he knew stuff before. He just been like that, but especially now he's 5. He's like, yo, like, what happened? You said it, like,
they know.
Don't do that, because that's breaking down his trust. He's not going to understand you or nothing like that anymore. Not going to listen to nothing you're saying, and then it's going to be, I have to be the cleanup woman. Gotta figure it out and say this and that. Like, no, you're gonna start dealing with it when you promise and break a promise. You're gonna have to start telling my child why you didn't show up, like you said. Like, give them a call back and understand. Treat them like little humans. They just like human, little people. They have feelings, and they understand stuff too. They understand most things that we think that they don't understand, and they be right there with us. Like, I ain't like that either.
I think just I want to wrap it up with this one, but I think that another way to teach a child how to love is to teach them to love their environment as well. So, like, not littering or cleaning up. Like, I'm a daughter, when she goes to refill her pantry, I'll let her go out there with gloves on and the trash bag, and we clean up in front of the door and things like that. And I just try to teach her, like, we don't litter. When we do things like this to the earth, these are the reactions, blah, blah. You teaching them how to love their environment, they, that's
another form of love. It's another way and thing to
even
love something you care about.
When she used to garden, there's another way, the earth, and it's going to produce something that you then took the time to nurture and care for. You watered it, you did all of these things and cared for it, and now look what it produced for you. Like,
I do that too. Like, going outside, saying that we was like to just like, hey, thank you, sun, thank you, trees, thank you, earth, whatever, just because people do stuff for you. Even people, like, start saying thank you to your grocery store, your people that check you out, and your clothing department. Start taking care of your clothes, taking care of your stuff. Like, all that stuff matters. It's showing them how to care about stuff and how to love things. So,
how did receiving love or not receiving love affect the way that you parent today?
Like, I don't try to carry on like my childhood onto stuff, or lack of something that I received or anything like that. Both my parents loved me. I feel like they could, even though they weren't together and stuff like that, but I feel loved on both sides, so I that wasn't an issue for me. But I'm definitely overly exaggerated with stuff. Like you want them to be better than what you were, but I don't intentionally put that in my mind. Like, oh, I remember September 17th, such and such, my mom didn't do this or my dad didn't do this, so I'm doing this because of that. Like, I don't think about it like I'm overly loving person, so I'm just like that with
Right.
period. So I just make sure I treat him like a person and understand that he has feelings too. So
Right.
of that, I'm always mindful of that. How about you?
I think, like, for me, like you said, I don't intentionally like be like, oh, my parents didn't do this, so I'm gonna make sure I do that. Like, I don't do that intentionally, but I do remember like things how I felt when I didn't receive like maybe like love or attention or things like that, and I try my best not to repeat
Yeah.
those mistakes of parent intention. Like, I try to like parent intentionally. Like, I try to, learn from their mistakes, I guess, and like try to not make those same mistakes with my child. Like, I don't like make it like, oh, my parents didn't do this and that, so I gotta do this. Like, no.
Right.
Do try to.
But you are mindful, like it's in your head, like, oh yeah, I remember I didn't like that.
Right, I try to be mindful, and like I'm just the type of person whereas though I just learn from it. So I guess like why that kind of happens, but like I learn from other people's mistakes, and I try not to repeat those things, or I try to avoid it if I couldn't. So I even picking my husband, like I just knew that was going to be there for my children because I knew the mistake that my mom made, and I didn't want to make that mistake, and I wanted to pick. I wanted to pick a person that was going to be supportive. I was. So, I don't intentionally do those things, but, it do be in the back of my mind, and I do try to be mindful of how I parent based on the things that I did go through or experience with my own parents.
Yeah, so the feedback we gave was to definitely be open with communication with your children, to show them how you love, and have them ask you questions about anything, that communication for themselves, and teach them how they feel about things, and let them be able to say the yes and no to stuff, have choices, and give them examples of like we said, dating your children is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just spending time with them, having that bonding moment, doing something special, starting to show your love language to your children, or starting to build their love language as well. What else, Ish?
We said to set examples of love. We also said to love your children unconditionally. We said to correct and teach. So we also
teachable
said
moments.
have teachable moments, and we said to teach incorporate love in their playtime. Oh, we also said to apologize as well.
Yeah.
To apologize when you feel like you did something wrong, or if your children, express some things to you that probably hurt their feelings or things like that.
Don't be afraid to have a conversation and revisit conversation after the solution. Just don't react all the time and just leave it at that. Like, come back, revisit what was said, what was the problem, and make a solution together. And if they do something that you was talking to them about and they didn't listen, express to them that made you feel a certain way, and that's why you reacted the way you did. But we're going to work on it to get better. Be able just pay attention to how they play. Like you said, they learn the most through play and learning and experiences and showing them. So pay attention to how they play and revisit stuff sometimes, and just check yourself in the mirror as a parent, and like, you can do this a different way, however you want them to be. And always remember that you guys are awesome as parents, doing the best you can do, and always just do your best and make your children happy people.
And is no perfect parent. Parenting does not
Not-
come with a handbook. We're all just out here doing the best that we can. So we want to remember that.
Yes, and for dads, especially dads too, don't let this society guys was weird, and let's normalize parents and family. I mean, dads loving their children, loving on their children, letting their son sit on their lap and stuff like that, or talking to them a kiss. That's not weird. That's love. That's what you want to do.
Affection.
It might not be your style and what you want, but don't project that into the world as if somebody doing it is wrong. People have different love languages. Start to teach them what a love language could be. So
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap it up, and that is our episode for season 2. Yay! So remember to follow us on all of our social media: Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Did I miss one? YouTube. All of Dead Queens podcast, and also Twitter QWQ podcast. And we will see you guys next Wednesday at 8.
See ya.
Good night.